This is the plaintiff, Doris Klein. She says she loaned her car to the defendant for 10 days. The guy ran that thing into the ground, and now it's going to cost her big bucks to get it fixed. The defendant has ignored her requests for payment. He's not going to get away with not paying her, and she's suing the cad for the $2,126.50 she's owed. This is the defendant, Robert Boyce. He says his mother was in the hospital, and the plaintiff offered her car to bring her back and forth to her appointments. The car's an old piece of junk on its last legs, and now the plaintiff's trying to blame him because it died? He's sorry the woman's hard up for cash, but she's not going to get any out of him. He's accused of driving a woman mad. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $3,000 for lawyer's fees.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff loaned her car to the defendant and says he destroyed it. But the defendant says the car was a piece of junk. It's the case of you ruined my hunk of junk.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Doris Klein.
Yes, hello.
You are suing Robert Boyce for $2,126.50 in car rental fees and the amount of damage to your car that you say he did when he was renting your car. You are counterclaiming against her $3,000 in legal fees. You say it actually exceeds the statutory maximum, that you actually spent $3,500 to defend this case where you're being sued for $2,000?
I hired an attorney. He did paperwork. I have paperwork, Your Honor.
I can't wait to hear it, but now's not the moment.
Not a problem.
Okay, let me hear from you.
Okay, I moved into a senior neighborhood about 2.5 years ago. At that time, I met Mr. Boyce. His mother lived there. Just casual neighborhood. It's a lovely little development. When I first met him, he seemed like a very nice guy, very caring about his mother. We're just a friendly little neighborhood.
Okay, I know all about the neighborhood. Now tell me what happened here. It's a lovely neighborhood. You're happy there. I'm so glad you're happy.
Well, okay, the end of April, he stopped by my apartment, and I think that was really the first time he's ever been in my apartment, and asked if I could ride him to Home Depot the next morning. He was renting the Home Depot vehicle, the truck, and it was costing him $125 a day.
Okay.
And in the course of the conversation, he said, could you drive me there in the morning? And there was no way I could do that. And I said, why don't you take my car? The reason I was confident letting him take my car was that the months prior, I had put about $1,000 into it, talked it over with the service station, said, is it worth putting $1,000 into a 20-year-old car?
Because you have a 20-year-old car?
It was my dad's. He bought it new. And
it's a what? A 1993 what?
Dodge Shadow, 106,000 miles.
Okay, so you were confident loaning him your car. Why?
Because I knew it was in good shape.
Okay,
that
what's
he
in it
would
for
be
you?
Safe. He said, I'd rather pay you than Home Depot. And I said, I'd be happy with half.
Half of Home Depot? Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah.
So you were going to get what?
Half of 125, which would be
$62.50 to rent your 20-year-old jalopy?
When you needed to get to an $87,000.
Why are you renting her car or Home Depot's car or anybody's car? What's going on?
Your Honor, I just came back from Florida. I rent Home Depot trucks every day.
To the tune of how much?
Out of $150 a day.
Why would you do that? What kind of businessman are you?
I'm a landscaper in Florida and New Jersey. Okay,
why don't you have landscaping trucks in New Jersey?
Because I never went back to get my vehicles in Florida, so
Was it your intent to go back and get?
Yes, eventually. But my mom is handicapped, and I take care of my mother. I cannot pick her up to put her into the rental trucks. This lady offered me her car just to go back and forth to pick up my mom. Never went to Home Depot with her. I have receipts and statements from Hertz that I rent vehicles and cars to go back and forth. She offered her car for me to pick my mom up to go back and forth. That's all this is all about. I used her car for a couple
Doris
days.
Klein seems like a lovely lady. Why would she turn that into some big, massive lawsuit against you for several $1,000s?
I don't know. I have no answer for that.
20-year-old Dodge, you buying the plaintiff's story?
No, anybody that holds onto a car for 20 years, they're the type of person that's going to tell somebody else.
God, if 20 years, you're a loser. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't even involved in a 20-year-old car because.
Yeah, I mean, you take your chances at that point going inside the courtroom.
So, how many times did you borrow her car?
Just for a couple days. Just for a couple days.
What did you do with it in those couple of days?
Shuttle my mom back and forth to the rehab center and the hospital.
You're suing him for 11 days. First you said 10, and then you amended it today to say 11. What specific days are those?
I believe he came, the first night he came was, he stopped by April 25th.
How do you know?
I scribbled it on my calendar.
Okay. Did you bring it?
Yeah, I did. I counted that as day one.
Okay, now, according to you, he damaged your car. Tell me about that.
Well, I had the odometer on, and I mean, he was going, he put about 300 plus miles on the vehicle.
How do you know?
I had the odometer on.
What? Okay. How do I know? What proof do you have of that?
Well,
so you're saying he's a liar. He didn't just drive to and from a hospital for his mom.
Absolutely not. That was the last 2 days. He did take his mother back and forth. I have some information that from his Facebook where the nights he had my car, he was at the bars inviting people for drinks. And I know my car is what he was using.
And that's how many miles away?
That's about 6 or 7 miles.
Okay, so in your rental contract with him of $62 a day, was there a mileage quota that he couldn't drive more than?
No.
Okay.
And
so what did he do to your car that he would now have to pay for a $1,500 repair to your 30-year-old car?
Okay, as I said.
20-year-old car, sorry.
As I said, I had the car completely done over. It had 4 brand new tires that barely had 20 miles on it.
Which means what? It'll never die again?
Well, the station that I deal with told me the way you drive this car, before I put the money in, I said, give it a good going over.
Okay,
Is it worth
with all due
investing?
respect, you understand that you have to be able to prove he did something to your car that is more than just use. I need you to turn around and not. I know you don't. You probably don't mean it to be hostile, but thank you. It's fine.
I apologize,
It's
Your
fine.
Honor.
Go ahead.
When he was driving the car home, I heard this loud car coming around the bend. And I looked up and I burst into tears in front of him. It was my car making this horrific clunking, rear end destroyed type of noise. It didn't leave like that. He told me he had it to his mechanic twice, and that the guy just said, Doris, it's an old car, it just needs WD-40. I asked him for the name of this guy. I said, let me have the name of this guy. Maybe he can give me a little more insight because I'm afraid to drive the car. It became an official clunker.
Did you take her car to the mechanic?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Did you ever tell her that you took it to the mechanic?
No, I did not.
How did you learn that he took it to the mechanic?
He told me.
All right, so let's talk about your counterclaim against her. You get sued for $2,000 and you hire a lawyer for $3,500?
$3,500, and Tom?
Tell me how it makes sense for you to hire a lawyer for $3,500 when you're being sued for $2,000.
Okay, well, he refunded my money, and I...
Oh, well then how are you out $3,000?
No, I'm not. I tried to correct that with you guys the other day.
Okay, so you're abandoning your counterclaim.
Yes, and I have it
let
right
me
here.
see. Yeah, let me see all that you have in your hand.
There you go, sir.
So when did you decide to tell me that? Not until you're in here and you figure out I know what time of day it is? Is that it?
No, not at all, Your Honor. I didn't read
Very
the paper. I've been
slick.
very, very busy. I apologize.
You're very busy. Ma'am, I'm not going to order him to repair your car because you either have a rental agreement with him or you loaned it to him and he damaged it. If you loaned it to him and he damaged it, I might say, hey, it's in your care, it gets damaged in your care, it's abused in your care, but that's not what happened. You tell me you were renting it. If you're renting it, he's renting the car, he can drive it to where he wants unless you told him not to. So it's one or the other. You can't have it both ways. Plus with a 20-year-old car, it's kind of ridiculous to be charging $62.50, but if that's what he wants to pay, it's America. That's the open market, so be it. But you don't get to have both bites at the apple. Okay? Things happen to a 20-year-old car. God bless it. I'm going to order you to pay the $687.11 in rental fees because I'm just left with her word against yours, and I don't like yours. And the counterclaim is abandoned. The amount to fix the car, I'm not ordering him to pay. That's my judgment. Good luck, folks.
Thank you very much.
All right, so the defendant comes out here and just was told by the judge that your word doesn't pass the smell test.
Okay, there's something else I can say. Nothing.
I know. Well, you forgot to tell her that you weren't counterclaiming.
I wasn't counterclaiming.
You just forgot that.
Fault, yes.
That doesn't work too well in the courtroom.
No, I can see that. Well, I did what I had to do.
Yep, you sure did.
Thank you.
And so here comes the plaintiff. You collect on the 10 days of rental, but that's all. That's what you get out of this. What do you feel?
I'm just glad that she saw right through him, and maybe somebody else will see this and not do what I did if they see his face up there.
What made you give your car to the guy?
I thought it was only going to be for a day or two. I thought he was working locally at the time, like 2 miles away.
You trusted him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Every neighbor has told me don't ever do that again. So.
Harvey?
If you want to put limitations on a loan you make to somebody like a car, you better put it down, and you better put it down in writing.